This isn't just about sleep. It's about silent wars of power. When you understand this, you can start to win your own battles. Most people think that snoring is just a simple act of someone who is asleep, but it's not. It's a sign of dominance. The louder the snore, the more dominant the person. It's like being defeated in battle. You feel like you've lost your power, you've lost your strength. But what I am saying is that you need to understand the importance of protecting your own sleep. And if you're in a relationship where your partner snores really loud, it can be very emasculating for you as a man. I'm not saying that you should try to beat your partner when they're sleeping. That would be crazy. And this is the hormone that helps you heal, repair, and build muscle. So if you want to look and feel your best, then you need to make sure that you're getting enough deep sleep. See, when you're in a deep sleep, that's when your body releases the most growth hormone. This is our channel. All the stories, all the events, all the news, every story that defined the world and changed its people. Well, there's one more story. And that story isn't easy to tell because it's a story written in shadows. It's a story full of secrets, conspiracies, and lies. Yes. The story of a secret organization, an organization that's now synonymous with espionage, with clandestine operations, with puppet masters of nations. Yes, we're talking about the CIA, so let's go back to the start. Summer of 1947, the Second World War is over. In 1954, President Arbanes wants to reform land ownership. How many lives can the CIA ruin? How many histories can the CIA alter? Let me show you what else they do. The Soviets call them the mirror image of the CIA. Why? Because both organizations operate in shadows, both deal in secrets, both shape world history. That's it. He wants a redistribution of land. He wants workers to own more land. The United Fruit Company doesn't like this. Caught in this struggle are innocent countries. Let me show you how the CIA operates in these regions. In 1967, the CIA invades Laos. They support anti-communist forces. They destabilize the region. It becomes a proxy war. Then in the 1970s, they target Angola. No, they expand further. They move into Latin America, target Nicaragua. They fund the Contras. They wage economic warfare. By the end of the decade, the Sandinista government falls. In El Salvador, they repeat the process. But this time it's bloodier. The death toll is higher. Yet the CIA keeps going. So the CIA ensures that failures never become public. They cover up. They keep quiet. They operate in shadows. After all, they're not accountable to anyone. They fund both sides of the civil war. In Congo, they prop up Mobutu Sese Seko. He becomes dictator for life. Spouses don't know where they go. Kids don't know what their parents do. CIA agents sign secrecy for life. They live and die in shadows. Their presence is felt everywhere, but the details are classified. Top secret? The CIA doesn't like questions. As another put it, we shape history, but remain outside it. These were America's secret warriors. Their files are still locked in vaults, but leaked pieces reveal their vast reach. One memo could topple a regime. One whisper could start a revolution. Their real weapons were information, deception, and time. And that's the real story of the CIA, a story of shadows and secrets. They don't publish their actions. They don't face oversight. They work in darkness. They're beyond the rule of law. They sacrifice everything for their job. Some die unnamed. Some disappear forever. Who decides which country becomes unstable? You guessed it right, the CIA. The answer is always the CIA. The CIA is a ghost. They haunt world politics. They're the unseen hand. They control the narrative. They're the reason why you believe what you believe. They're the reason why you think the way you think. They're the reason why there is so much hatred, so much violence, so much pain in our world today. They tunneled under the streets of West Berlin, or target the U.S. mission in Berlin. They wanted to spy on American communications. What does the CIA do? What if this wasn't about ideology? What if this was about power? What if this was about resources? You see, while the ideological battle rages, the real game is elsewhere. It's in Africa. It's in the Middle East. It's in Southeast Asia. The CIA secures raw materials for America. They help him crack down on protests. They turn a blind eye to his brutality. But finally, the revolution breaks out. The Shah flees. The CIA loses Iran. In Nicaragua, They back the Contras. They funnel in millions of dollars, but the Sandinistas win. The CIA loses Nicaragua, but nowhere is defeat more crushing than in Angola. The CIA supports Jonas Savimbi, leads UNITA. The CIA pours in arms and funds, but Savimbi loses. The CIA withdraws. They get cheap resources for U.S. industries. It's a win-win situation for the U.S., or so they thought. Launch a countermission. It's called Operation Gold. They dig their own tunnel. It's under the streets of East Berlin. And in May 1965, they tapped the Soviets' communication. It's a classic strategy. Destabilize, invade, profit. But it doesn't always work. Sometimes the CIA loses. When they lose, they disappear. But then disaster strikes. A double agent exposes the CIA's tunnel, but it doesn't matter. The message is delivered. Okay, the CIA can strike when it wants to. They can eliminate enemies on their soil. They're an American company, and they own a lot of land in Guatemala. To protect their assets, the CIA launches another operation. Code name, Operation Pubsucks. They run fake radio stations. They spread panic. They even fake military advances. On June 26, 1954, Arbenz is overthrown. Guatemala descends into violence. Hundreds die, thousands flee. But the CIA wins. They protect the American interest. That's their job. Do whatever it takes to protect American interests. Adolf Hitler is dead. Peace is elusive. Europe is divided. Asia is tense. The world is ready to explode. From this day onwards, the world is never the same again. The declared enemy is clear, Soviet Union. The threat is clear, communism. And so begins the Cold War. It's an invisible war. It's the entire Soviet Union. That's why the CIA expands its operations. It sets its sights on Moscow. It's 1953. Iran is struggling with two problems. No. One, poverty. No. Two, foreign influence. Right. By listening in on the biggest voices in the world. In the late 1960s, the CIA spied on Soviet leaders. They recorded conversations. They translated them. They analyzed every word. What they found was disturbing. The Soviets were planning to invade Czechoslovakia. The CIA made sure that America knew first. Enter Dr. Mohammad Mossadegh. He's Iran's democratically elected prime minister. His agenda is simple. Take Iranian oil back from foreign hands. Now, why does the U.S. like this? They don't. Because Iran's oil means power for the West. It means money for British and American companies. Mossadegh wants to nationalize it. He wants Iranians to own it. What happens next is straight out of a Hollywood thriller. The CIA launches a covert operation, codename Operation Ajax. What follows is a well-oiled campaign of destabilization. They pay off mobs, spread rumors, create chaos. It's almost like a pressure cooker being set off from inside. Finally, the Iranian military steps in. Mossadegh is ousted. The Shah returns to power. America has just replaced a leader with a puppet. Welcome to the world of the CIA, where democracy is optional, where elections are theater, and where leaders are crowned in boardrooms, not elected by the people. There's no shooting, no tanks, only tension and terror. In this atmosphere of fear and uncertainty, America births an organization. It's a secret organization. It's an organization to oversee intelligence gathering. Its name is Central Intelligence Agency. It doesn't sound sinister. It sounds very official. But look closer. Take a deeper dive. Look beyond the name. For within that name lay a legacy of lies, a legacy of deceit. On July 1947, President Harry S. Truman signs the National Security Act. It establishes the CIA. It gives birth to a phantom force. What is the CIA's first assignment? Gather intel on the Soviets. Find out their strategies, their plans, their defense, their diplomacy. Basically know what the Soviets are up to. Sounds pretty legit, right? No harm in that, right? Wrong. You see, the CIA doesn't just gather intel. They cross the line. They don't just find facts. They create facts. And that's how the CIA becomes the ghost of states. They can make a leader lose his legitimacy. They can instigate civil wars. They can overthrow governments, and nobody knows about it. Let me give you an example. Let me introduce you to Iran. And this is just one instance. The CIA repeats it in Guatemala. The question is, how much damage can the CIA do? In the early 1960s, The Soviets took on a massive project. But their ultimate target is bigger. It's not just Berlin or West Germany. How do you spy on the biggest city in the world? Meanwhile, the battle of ideologies rages. The US wants to contain communism. The Soviets want to expand it. Now ask yourself a question. The 1980s bring a new challenge. The Soviets are collapsing. Their economy is tanking. Their empire is crumbling. Does the CIA slow down? In Afghanistan, they support the Mujahideen. They arm them, train them, help them fight the Soviets. For instance, in Iran, the CIA backs the Shah. Failure for the CIA is rare, but when it happens, it's catastrophic. It's a failure of the state. You see, the CIA operates in a bubble, so they have their own rules. They have their own court. Families don't know what they do. Today, the CIA remains the most powerful intelligence force on Earth, and that's why asking the right questions is important. Who decides who dies in crossfire? Who decides who survives a war? As one CIA officer said, we are not heroes. We are ghosts. 96, the year is 2023. The Cold War has been over for 30 years. It's 97, but this story isn't over. It's 98. This is the story of the CIA. 2. Washington feared communism more than war itself. 3. The CIA was young, but hungry. For their mission, stop Soviet influence by any means. 5. In Iran, oil was power. 6. Prime Minister Mossadegh nationalized it. 7. Britain panicked. America joined. 8. The CIA launched Operation Ajax. 60. They trained local militias. 61. And they lied sometimes to their own government. 62. The war escalated. 63. America's trust cracked. 72. He was a Marxist. 73. The CIA couldn't allow it. 74. They funded strikes, paid generals, spread fear. 75. In 1973, a coup brought Pinochet to power. 76,000 were tortured and killed. 77. The CIA looked away. 78. They called it stability. It's 79. 64. Inside the U.S., protests rose. 65. The CIA spied on Americans. 66. Illegally, quietly, constantly. 67. COINTELPRO tracked dissenters. 68. Black leaders, peace activists, journalists. 69. The agency said it was about national security. 70. But it smelled like paranoia. 97. What operation led to the overthrow of Iran's Prime Minister Mossadegh? 98. Who was the leader of Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis? 99. What was the name of the CIA's program to gather intelligence on Soviet missiles in Cuba? 100. What was the significance of the Church Committee hearings? 101. What was MK Ultra? 102. What event marked the end of the Cold War? 103. Who was the current director of the CIA? 104. 71. 9. They bribed politicians, hired mobs. 10. The streets of Tehran burned. 11. Mossad was overthrown. 12. The Shah returned America's man. 13. It was the CIA's first coup. 14. Success tasted sweet and dangerous. 15. Next stop, Guatemala. 16. A left-leaning president wanted land reform. 83. Mind control experiments, MKUltra, came to light. 84. Drugs, shock therapy, memory erasure. 85. Victims never knew. 86. The public was horrified. 87. Congress held hearings, the Church Committee. 88. Assassination plots, legal spying. 89. The CIA was exposed. 90. Reforms followed. Some rules were written. 91. But power never vanished. 92. The agency simply evolved. 93. Smarter, quieter, deeper. 94. And always in the shadows. 95. 17. United Fruit Company didn't like it. 18. Neither did the CIA. 19. They called him a communist. 20. Operation Pubsucks was born. 21. Planes dropped leaflets. Propaganda ran wild. 22. A fake army created real fear. 23. In 1954, President Arbenz fled. 24. Another coup, another success. 25. But seeds of hatred were sown. 26. Latin America never forgot. 27. 99 Part 2, The Making of a Monster. 100. 30 tunnels dug under the wall. 31 secrets flowed like electricity. 32, but betrayal was constant. 40, the CIA planned to remove him. 41, invasion was their plan. 42, they trained exiles in secret. 43, in 1961, the Bay of Pigs failed. 44, bad intel. Poor planning, no backup. 45, it was a disaster. 46, the world saw CIA weakness. 47, JFK was furious. 48, but he kept them close. 49, in 1962, the world held its breath. 50, Soviet missiles in Cuba. 51, the CIA discovered them first. 52, the Cuban Missile Crisis began. 53, 13 days. The world stood on the edge. 54, spies and satellites saved the day. 55, the Soviets blinked. 56, but fear never left. 57, 33, the Soviets had their own spies. 34, some of them worked inside the CIA. 35, the line between truth and treason blurred. 36. The year was 1950. The Cold War had turned icy. Meanwhile, the CIA hunted the Soviets. 28 spies, bugs, double agents. 29, Berlin was their playground. In Cuba, revolution changed everything. 37, Fidel Castro took power in 1959. 38, he defied America. 39, he befriended the Soviets. Vietnam became the next arena. 58, the CIA ran covert missions. 59, they gathered intel. In Chile, Allende won a fair election. By the mid-70s, something changed. ET whispers became headlines. 81 reporters uncovered the dark truth. 82, the CIA had gone too far. Now, let's test your knowledge with a quick quiz. 96, what year was the CIA created? You want to learn more about the CIA? Check out our podcast. Thanks for watching. The CIA is one of the most secretive organizations in the world. They've been involved in countless covert operations from around the globe, while the U.S. military would be the first responder if war were to break out again. They couldn't be the only ones gathering intel on other countries. This was because the military would be too identifiable. Other nations could easily predict their moves and foil any attempts at espionage. So in 1947, President Truman signed the National Security Act into law. This created not only the CIA, but also the National Security Agency. In the early 1960s, the Soviets began sending missiles to Cuba. On April 17, 1948, an attempt would be made on the Iranian Prime Minister's life. It was orchestrated by the Shah and approved by the CIA. They hoped that they could install a puppet government in Iran. They would establish a new counterterrorism center. Its main purpose was to gather intel on terrorist groups around the world. In 2011, they carried out a drone strike, which killed Osama bin Laden. However, they've also been accused of killing civilians in drone strikes. This has led to calls for more oversight of the CIA's drone program. The center would eventually be involved in the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden. They also played a major role in the Iraq War. However, they would face criticism for not finding any weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. However, the assassination attempt would fail, and the Shah would be forced to flee the country. This event would lead to the Iranian Revolution of 1979. It would see the establishment of an Islamic Republic in Iran. They've been involved in everything from regime change to assassinations. But what do you think of the CIA? Are they a necessary evil? Or does their secrecy make them dangerous? Let us know your thoughts. This would allow them to strike the United States with nuclear weapons. In the 1980s, the CIA would secretly sell arms to Iran. This was all done under a program known as MKUltra. The purpose of the program was to find a way to control the minds of enemy soldiers. This would be done through hypnosis, drugs, and even brain surgery. Luckily, the program would come to an end in 1973 when the experiments were deemed unethical. They hoped that this would help bring an end to the Iran-Iraq War. However, the profits from the weapons sales would be used to fund the Contras in Nicaragua. This was done in spite of a congressional ban. While the CIA was never directly implicated, Reagan would admit that he had given the order to sell the weapons to Iran. On October 16, 1962, Kennedy would address the nation about the missiles. He told the public that a quarantine would be established around Cuba. This would prevent any more missiles from being sent to the island. This move would anger the Soviets, and it seemed like war may be inevitable. However, the CIA came up with a plan to remove the missiles without starting a war. This was known as the Black Saturday Invasion. On the night of October 19, 1962, CIA operatives would sail into the Caribbean. They would plant bombs on the ground which would destroy the Soviet missiles. Luckily, the mission was a success, and the standoff would soon be over. But what is the history of this secretive organization? Let's find out in today's video. After the end of the Second World War, it was clear to American leaders that they needed some sort of civilian intelligence agency to operate outside of the military. But when it comes to the CIA, their start was rather humble. The organization began with just 1,300 employees who worked in an old sugar warehouse in Langley, Virginia. From there, they would begin Project Mockingbird, which would use American journalists overseas to gather intel on communist activities. Another project would see the CIA paying children across Europe to smuggle radios into the Soviet Union. These radios would then broadcast anti-Soviet propaganda. One of the most successful projects would be the development of the U-2 spy plane. The CIA wanted a way to take high-altitude photography of the Soviet Union. At the time, the Air Force was developing a new jet known as the A-12. It was designed to fly so high that it would be beyond the range of Soviet air defenses. Some believed that this aircraft would be perfect for spying, and the CIA seized on the idea. This led to the creation of the U-2 spy plane, which was basically a modified version of the A-12. It would eventually be flown by Francis Gary Powers. He would become famous for being shot down over the Soviet Union in 1960. But while they had spies in the sky, the CIA needed a way to get people into the Soviet Union. This led to the creation of the Special Techniques Department. Their main purpose was to train agents to get into enemy territory undetected. One of the methods they developed was known as the honey trap. This would involve an attractive female agent seducing a target. She would then either blackmail him or obtain intel from him. Another method was known as the black bag job, so it involved agents breaking into a target's house and searching it while he was away. Sometimes the target would even be brought back to the safe house to be interrogated. The Special Techniques Department was eventually disbanded in the 1980s. By that time, the Cold War had heated up, and it was easier to identify. American spies within the Soviet Union, the Cuban Missile Crisis was one of the biggest challenges for the CIA. While the Black Saturday Invasion was a huge success, another CIA operation would be a total failure. The Iran-Contra affair was another major scandal for the CIA. During the Cold War, the CIA would conduct secret experiments on its own people. In the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, the CIA would play a major role in the war on terror. In recent years, the CIA has been involved in several controversial drone strikes. Today, the CIA continues to carry out secret missions around the globe. Now, if you want to learn more about the CIA, we have a full-length video on their secret bases. The CIA has had a long history of carrying out covert operations from assassinating foreign leaders to overthrowing democratically elected governments. It's safe to say that if you're an American citizen, there's a good chance that your life has been affected by their activities. So let us take a look at some of the craziest things the CIA has done to protect America. From the assassination of JFK to starting the war in Afghanistan. This agency is so secretive that most Americans don't even know it exists. This was done to centralize intelligence gathering activities, which were previously handled by the military. They believed that the movement was being controlled by communists, and that it posed a threat to national security. They also carried out a number of covert operations behind enemy lines. The reason for this was that the Shah was much more favorable to the United States than Mossad was. The U.S. wanted to maintain control of Iran's oil industry, which Mossad had threatened to nationalize. They began a top-secret project called Project McNamee, in which they tested various biological agents on unsuspecting victims. One of the most deadly agents they tested was anthrax. The CIA believed that anthrax could be used as a form of biological warfare, and they wanted to see how effective it would be. Also, check out these other videos that we know you'll love. They tested the theory on 2 occasions, once in 1960 and again in 1962. In both cases, the anthrax was released into the air and then inhaled by the victims. The first test resulted in the death of a Canadian scientist named Dr. Day Bre. The second test resulted in the deaths of 2 American scientists, Dr. Earl C. Williams and Dr. Matthew Meselson. Despite these deaths, the CIA continued to experiment with biological weapons until 1972, when they were finally banned by international treaty. The CIA orchestrated a coup against Mossadegh with the help of British intelligence. The CIA believed that the new government was becoming too friendly with the Soviet Union and that it posed a threat to American interests in the region. The man who shot Kennedy was Lee Harvey Oswald, a former Marine. But there have been many conspiracy theories surrounding the assassination of JFK ever since it happened. Some people believe that the CIA was involved in the assassination because Kennedy had become a thorn in their side. He had been critical of the agency's activities and had taken steps to curtail their power. There was some evidence to support this theory. For example, several witnesses reported seeing a second gunman. However, the official investigation into Kennedy's death concluded that Oswald acted alone. Whether or not the CIA was involved in the assassination of JFK is still debated by historians today. The CIA worked with a group of Dominican exiles to overthrow the government. They provided the exiles with weapons, training, and funding. On October 1965, the exiles launched an attack on the Dominican Republic. The attack was successful, and the government was overthrown. The CIA installed a new government friendly to the U.S. This event is known as Operation 48, and it's considered to be one of the last major covert operations of the Cold War. The CIA's actions in the Dominican Republic have had a lasting impact on the country. They have helped to create a climate of fear and suspicion, and they have made it difficult for the doctor to work with the U.S. on important issues such as drug trafficking and terrorism. They bribed key members of the Iranian parliament and incited protests against Mossadegh. Eventually, the Shah was forced to flee the country, and the CIA installed a new government friendly to the U.S. This event is known as Operation Ajax, and is considered to be one of the most significant events of the Cold War. The CIA's actions in Iran have had far-reaching consequences. They have made it difficult for the U.S. to work with Iran on important issues such as the war in Afghanistan and the fight against terrorism. And they have also contributed to the instability of the region as a whole. One of the most ambitious of these operations was called Mockingbird. The reason for this was that the CIA believed that the new government was becoming too friendly with the Soviet Union. The CIA orchestrated a coup against the government with the help of a group of Guatemalan exiles. They funded and trained the exiles and then provided them with weapons and ammunition. On June 1954, the exiles launched a full-scale attack on Guatemala City. The government was overthrown and a new military dictatorship was installed. This event is known as Operation Pubsucks, and it's considered to be one of the first major victories of the Cold War. The CIA's actions in Guatemala have had far-reaching consequences. They have helped to create a climate of fear and suspicion in the country, and they have made it difficult for the U.S. to work with Guatemala on important issues such as drug trafficking and terrorism. The CIA recruited a number of Vietnamese civilians to serve as spies and informants. They were given training in espionage and then sent into North Vietnam to gather intelligence. The CIA also used a number of psychological warfare tactics to undermine the North Vietnamese. They broadcast propaganda over the radio, dropped leaflets from planes, and even set up fake villages in order to confuse the enemy. One of the most controversial aspects of Operation Mockingbird was the use of chemical weapons. The CIA sprayed large areas of North Vietnam with herbicides and defoliants in order to destroy crops and disrupt the local economy. In response, the CIA created a program called COINTELPRO, which aimed to infiltrate and disrupt civil rights organizations. COINTELPRO agents spread rumors, planted false evidence, and even committed acts of violence in order to achieve their goals. They also worked closely with law enforcement officials to target suspected civil rights leaders. The FBI, under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, had already been surveilling Martin Luther King Jr. and other civil rights activists for years. They used the information they gathered to discredit King in the eyes of the public. For example, the FBI released a recording of King having an affair with a woman who was not his wife. They also spread rumors that King was a communist, and that he was using the civil rights movement to further his own personal interests. The CIA's actions during this time period are a reminder of the lengths to which they will go in order to protect American interests. At first, the CIA worked hard to stay out of the spotlight, but eventually they became comfortable with being more open about their work. For example, when the Bay of Pigs invasion took place in 1961, The CIA was eager to take responsibility for the botched operation. In 1947, President Harry Truman signed the National Security Act into law, which led to the creation of the Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA. And while they do a lot of good, there are some things they've done that have caused quite a bit of controversy. Let's take a look at a few of those now. Since then, the CIA has become one of the most powerful organizations in the world. In the early days of the Cold War, the CIA became convinced that the Soviets were using brainwashing techniques to turn American soldiers into sleeper agents. To counter this threat, the CIA began its own program of research into mind control. What followed was a series of experiments that would become known as MK-Ultra. The CIA experimented with a variety of drugs, including LSD, barbiturates, and amphetamines. They also used hypnosis and other forms of psychological manipulation. One of the most infamous experiments involved a Canadian serial killer named Richard Ramirez. The CIA gave Ramirez LSD and then sent him into a crowded area of San Francisco. They hoped that he would kill someone so they could study the effects of LSD on a human being. Ramirez ended up killing 5 people before he was caught. The CIA destroyed most of the MK-Ultra files in 1973, but some of the documents that did survive have revealed the true extent of their mind control program. No. 8. Ultra. Number 7. COINTELPRO. In the 1950s and 60s, the CIA became increasingly concerned about the growing civil rights movement in America. Number 6. Operation Mockingbird. During the Vietnam War, the CIA played a key role in gathering intelligence on the enemy. No. 5. Operation Ajax. In 1953, the CIA overthrew the democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran, Mohammad Mossadegh, and replaced him with the Shah, Mohammad Pahlavi. Number 4. Operation PubSucks. In 1954, the CIA overthrew the democratically elected government of Guatemala and replaced it with a military dictatorship. No. 3. Project McNamee. In the 1960s, the CIA became interested in the potential of biological warfare. Number 2. Operation 48. In 1965, the CIA began a secret program called Operation 48 to destabilize and overthrow the government of Dominican Republic. Number 1. The assassination of JFK. On November 22, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated while riding in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more historical tales. This is the story of the CIA's Forever War, a 20-year conflict across the globe that nobody knew was happening. Welcome to my channel. It's been 2 decades since 9/11s. 2 decades of war in Afghanistan and Iraq. Drone strikes, black ops teams, and covert operations in at least 85 countries. But all of this has been kept secret from the American people. Hidden in classified documents and buried under the weight of national security. Yet these covert operations have profoundly affected every single one of us. From the food we eat to the water we drink, even the clothes we wear. These included attacks against high-value targets like Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS in Afghanistan, as well as mid-level operatives and foot soldiers. Alongside them were special activities like Operation Haymaker. This was a joint CIA and JSOC mission to take out Osama bin Laden, and that's just the ones we know about. There were also countless other covert operations conducted in complete secrecy. For instance, in 2010, the CIA reportedly worked with the government of Kenya to assassinate al-Qaeda operative Fazul Abdullah al-Gahumi. He was wanted for his role in planning the 1998 bombings of U.S. embassies in Tanzania and Kenya that killed more than 200 people. But rather than face trial, he was shot dead in a hail of bullets while sitting in a car with his wife and 2 children. Many of them are low-level operatives who provide intel on everything from local militant activity to high-level terrorist plots. Others are senior government officials who help the CIA to carry out its covert operations. But the CIA's recruitment efforts have not been without controversy. In fact, the agency has been accused of using torture to extract intel from its prisoners and of paying bounties to militant groups in exchange for enemy fighters. The agency's Forever War has also been criticized for its effectiveness. In fact, some critics argue that the war on terror has only made things worse, leading to the rise of groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. And the CIA's forever war is taking a heavy toll on its officers and agents. Many of them have been involved in multiple drone strikes and other covert operations, and some have even been killed or wounded. But the CIA is continuing to push forward. It is adapting its tactics and strategies to try to stay ahead of the militants it is hunting. Moreover, many of the people the CIA recruits are not full-time employees, but rather independent contractors. The CIA's forever war is a conflict that most Americans know nothing about. It's being fought in secret by an army that operates in the shadows. But the war is having a profound impact on our everyday lives, from the food we eat to the water we drink, even the clothes we wear. So it's time we learn the truth about the CIA's secret war. This allows the agency to operate more covertly and to avoid some of the legal and regulatory restrictions that apply to traditional government agencies. The untold story of the CIA's forever war is coming to select theaters in on-demand December as a result. Many of the people who work for the CIA are not subject to oversight by Congress or the courts, and that means the agency can operate with very little accountability. It was one of the most audacious operations in history, and it was also one of the most secretive. The CIA's forever war has been raging for 2 decades now. It's having a profound impact on our everyday lives. Take, for example, the CIA's use of drones. These unmanned aircraft are equipped with powerful cameras and missiles. They allow the CIA to collect intel on its targets, while minimizing risk to human life. But the use of drones has also been controversial. In fact, the CIA has been accused of carrying out so-called signature strikes, which involve killing people simply because they fit a certain profile. Moreover, the CIA's drone program has been criticized for its lack of oversight. In fact, a report released by the Senate Intelligence Committee in 2014 found that the CIA had carried out at least 37 drone strikes against suspected militants in countries like Yemen, Somalia, and Libya. But the report also found that the CIA had failed to follow its own rules for carrying out drone strikes in many cases. In fact, the agency is said to be planning for the long haul, setting up shop in at least 85 countries and carrying out thousands of drone strikes every single year. But the American people know very little about these operations, thanks in part to the classified nature of the CIA's work, but also because the agency has done everything it can to keep these programs secret. In fact, the CIA has even gone to court to stop journalists from publishing information about its covert operations. After all, the CIA doesn't operate on its own. In Pakistan, for example, the agency worked closely with the country's Inter-Services Intelligence Directorate. But as these individuals were eliminated, the CIA had to adapt. It began carrying out more drone strikes against mid-level operatives and foot soldiers. And it also stepped up its recruitment efforts in an attempt to turn the tide in its favor. Together they launched a massive manhunt for Osama bin Laden, but they didn't just rely on official channels. According to a report by the New York Times, the CIA also recruited a network of informants and assets inside Pakistan. Some were members of the country's powerful military and intelligence apparatus. Others were low-level operatives working for Al-Qaeda. All of them provided the CIA with valuable intel that helped to track down bin Laden and other high-value targets. But in May 2011, it was finally revealed that a Navy SEAL had shot and killed bin Laden inside a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. And it wasn't until May 2nd, 2011, that he was finally killed in a raid on his compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. But the death of bin Laden was not the end of the war. In fact, it was just the beginning. In that same year, the CIA used another special activity called Operation Neptune Spear to take out al-Baghdadi in Iraq. Again, it was a highly classified mission, and details were kept under wraps for years. But what we do know is that a CIA officer known only as Vanessa was instrumental in tracking down and killing both of these men. She became something of a folk hero inside the agency, and the public began demanding her release so that she could talk about her work. But the CIA refused, no doubt because revealing too much about these operations could compromise future missions. It was a similar story in Yemen between 2012 and 2015. The CIA reportedly carried out over 1,300 drone strikes there, killing hundreds of suspected militants. But it wasn't just the Middle East. Drone strikes were also carried out in Africa, Asia and Southeast Asia, Europe and even North America. There were attacks against al-Qaeda cells in Somalia, for example, and against suspected militants in Syria and Libya. But even U.S. soil was not off limits. In fact, in 2011, a CIA drone strike killed Anwar al-Awlaki, an American citizen who had become a leader in al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. It was the first time in history that the CIA had used a drone to kill an American citizen inside another country without a warrant and without any trial or due process.
Wow.
That's more than 5 drone strikes per day for nearly 240 days. And what's most shocking? The public doesn't know where they took place. Oh, for years. The only information available came from groups like the Bureau of Investigative Journalism or the Long War Journal, which compiled casualty figures based on reports from media outlets and open-source intelligence. But now we can reveal where every single one of these strikes occurred. So here's the untold story of the CIA's Forever War, a silent battle fought across the globe by an army you didn't know existed. And it's coming to theaters and on demand December Squan. On September 2001, 19 militants from al-Qaeda hijacked for airplanes. They flew 2 of them into the Twin Towers in New York City, a 3rd into the Pentagon just outside Washington, D.C., and crashed the 4th into a field in Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives that day. It was the deadliest terrorist attack in history. And within weeks, the Bush administration declared a global war on terror with 2 main fronts: Afghanistan and Iraq. We've all heard about those wars. But there was also a 3rd front, a shadow war fought in secret by an army most Americans didn't even know existed. Covert war that has had a profound impact on our everyday lives. It started shortly after the attacks on 9/11, when then-President George W. Bush met with the heads of the CIA and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and ordered them to, quote, take out the terrorist leaders who were hiding along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. The order was dubbed Operation Neptune's Spear. It gave the CIA its authority to carry out covert operations across the globe, with very few rules or oversight. In fact, it remains the longest-running covert CIA operation in history, and it's produced some really interesting results. According to a report released by the NSA in 2014, in the first 8 months alone, the CIA carried out more than 3,800 drone strikes in at least 27 countries. In Afghanistan, for example, there were 642 drone strikes in 2010 alone, mostly in the eastern part of the country, near the border with Pakistan. But drone strikes were only one part of the CIA's arsenal. There were plenty more missions where those too. By the end of 2012, for example, the CIA had carried out more than 5,000 drone strikes in Pakistan alone. Of course, none of this would have been possible without the help of local allies. Yet despite all of this, the CIA's efforts to capture bin Laden were unsuccessful. For the next few years, the CIA focused its efforts on tracking down and killing other high-value targets like senior al-Qaeda members and Islamic State group leaders. Today, the CIA is believed to have a network of at least 25,000 informants and assets around the world. And that brings us to the present day. But the truth is, the CIA's Forever War is not just happening in secret. It's happening all around us. And it's not just the methods used by the CIA that are controversial. And it seems likely that the Forever War will continue for many years to come. Thank you for watching. In the past week, we've seen some shocking images coming out of Israel. The Mossad, Israel's equivalent of the CIA, has carried out daring missions across the Middle East and beyond. But which is the most powerful? And why should you care? You should care because these spy agencies not only plan and execute covert operations in the shadows, but they also control billions of dollars in funding that can make or break countries. Established in 1949, the Mossad has been involved in some daring missions over the years, from stealing nuclear technology to assassinating terrorists. The agency has a long history of carrying out covert operations abroad, often in hostile environments. The Mossad is one of the most powerful spy agencies in the world, and its activities can have far-reaching consequences. Its creation was prompted by the need to gather intelligence on potential threats from neighboring Arab nations and to carry out covert operations to protect Israel's national interests. The agency's first director, Reuven Shiloah, was a veteran of the Haganah, the Jewish paramilitary organization that fought against the British during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. From gathering intelligence on potential threats to carrying out sabotage against enemy forces, the Mossad plays a vital role in protecting Israel's national security. One of the most famous missions carried out by the Mossad was Operation Magic Carpet, which saw the agency secretly airlift thousands of Iraqi Jews to Israel in the early 1950s. Dagan was a veteran of the agency, having joined in 1978 and worked his way up through the ranks. He played a key role in several major operations, including the 1982 Lebanon War and the 2004 kidnapping of Hamas operatives. As director, he oversaw the elimination of several high-profile terror targets, including Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, Hamas, leader responsible for planning attacks against Israelis. Their contributions and sacrifices have helped to make the Mossad the respected and feared organization it is today. Dagan was known for his unconventional approach to intelligence gathering, preferring to rely on human sources rather than technology. Unlike many other intelligence agencies, the Mossad has a small regular staff, with the majority of its operatives being freelancers, who can blend in almost anywhere. The agency has a sophisticated suite of tools and equipment that allow it to collect intelligence from a variety of sources, including satellites, drones, and electronic surveillance. The agency has a long history of carrying out daring missions that would be impossible for any other organization to pull off. These missions involve secret agents assuming new identities and infiltrating enemy territory to gather intelligence or carry out sabotage. But the truth is that undercover work is much more complex and dangerous than what Hollywood would have you believe. A team of Mossad operatives tracked down Eichmann living in Argentina and brought him back to Israel to stand trial. It was a daring mission that required years of planning and involved a cast of characters that would make any spy movie writer blush. From assassinating terrorists to sabotaging enemy installations. The Mossad operatives are highly skilled in a wide range of disciplines, allowing them to carry out virtually any mission with precision and efficiency. The rise of new global powers such as China and Russia, as well as the evolving threat posed by terrorist organizations, will require the agency to adapt and innovate. The agency has a rich history of innovation, and its operatives are some of the most highly trained and skilled in the world. We hope you've learned something new and gained a deeper appreciation for the challenges and complexities of global intelligence. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more fascinating content. Until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions. As long as Israel remains committed to its national security, the Mossad will be there to protect it. In addition, the increasing use of technology and intelligence gathering means that the Mossad must stay ahead of the curve to ensure its operations remain covert and effective. The agency's operatives are trained in a wide range of disciplines, from disguise and deception to infiltration and sabotage. Whether the mission requires a team of experts or a lone wolf operative, the Mossad has the personnel and resources to get the job done. However, the Mossad is not just a technological organization. It also relies on good, old-fashioned shoe-leather intelligence gathering, because understanding how this secretive agency operates provides insight into the complex world of global intelligence. The Mossad's innovative techniques and daring missions have shaped the course of history and continue to do so today. So whether you're a spy movie fan or a history buff, keep an eye on the Mossad. You never know what secrets they might uncover next. Operatives often work undercover in foreign countries, gathering intelligence on potential threats to Israel's national security. Any slip-up could blow their cover and put them in danger. They must live in disguise, adopting a new identity and background, which requires a high level of skill and dedication. In addition, undercover operatives often work alone, relying on their wits and resources to complete their mission. This means that they must be self-sufficient and able to think on their feet. These operatives are highly trained in areas such as languages, cultures, and disguise, allowing them to gather intelligence undetected. He was also a strong advocate for the importance of cultural understanding and worked to improve relations between Israel and the Arab world. This was a daring operation that involved a complex web of lies and deception, as well as a small army of agents working in disguise. Olavi was a key player in several major operations, including the 1981 airstrike on an Iraqi nuclear reactor, and the 1997 bombing of a suspected nuclear site in North Korea. Zamir was a key player in several major operations, including the rescue of hostages from a hijacked plane in 1972 and the 1973 Yom Kippur War. He was known for his bravery and daring, as well as his ability to inspire loyalty and dedication in those around him. After leaving the Mossad, Zamir went on to serve as the 15th Prime Minister of Israel. From 1978 to 1983, he was known for his cool head and calm demeanor under pressure, as well as his ability to think strategically and anticipate his opponent's moves. After leaving the Mossad, Alavi went on to serve as the 10th President of Israel. From 2003 to 2007, let us take a closer look at some of the key figures who have shaped the agency's history and continue to drive its success today. It was a testament to the creativity and resourcefulness of the Mossad that they were able to pull off such a risky mission. So whether you're a history buff or a spy movie enthusiast, understanding the inner workings of the Mossad is essential to appreciating the complexities of global geopolitics and divisions, each specializing in different areas of intelligence gathering and covert operations. The agency's activities are overseen by a Director General, who reports to the Prime Minister. Today, the agency is responsible for a wide range of activities, from gathering intelligence on potential threats to carrying out sabotage against enemy forces. So if you're interested in learning more about this secretive world, keep watching. And although their activities remain secret, we managed to get our hands on some leaked documents that will let us take a peek. Inside, the inner workings of the most powerful spy agency in the world. But don't let its size fool you. Despite being one of the smaller intelligence agencies in the world, Mossad is widely considered to be one of the most effective. Its success rate is unmatched, with a significant portion of its missions being successful. Welcome to the channel. Today we will be looking at Shadows of Power, inside global intelligence. But what are they up to? And how much power do they really have? There are thousands of intelligence agencies scattered around the world, each with their own agenda, goals, and resources. The shadowy world of espionage. Although spy movies may lead you to believe otherwise, the world of espionage is a lot less glamorous than it seems. Instead of suave secret agents leaping from building to building and high-tech gadgets, the reality is a lot more bureaucratic. Much of the work involves tedious paperwork and office politics. That being said, there are still plenty of opportunities for adventure if you know where to look. Take the Israeli spy agency Mossad, for example. What is the Mossad, and why should you care? The Mossad is Israel's national intelligence agency, responsible for gathering intelligence and carrying out covert operations abroad. But why should you care about this shadowy organization? It's simple. A brief history of the Mossad. The Mossad was founded in December 1949, just 1 year after the establishment of the State of Israel. In the early days, the Mossad focused on gathering intelligence on Egyptian and Syrian activities, as well as on the activities of European Jewish communities that could potentially immigrate to Israel. Over the years, the Mossad has continued to evolve and adapt, taking on new challenges and expanding its reach. Meet the masterminds. Key figures in the Mossad. Behind every successful organization are the people who make it happen, and the Mossad is no exception. Starting with Meir Dagan, the former director of the Mossad who served from 2009 to 2013. Next, we have Ephraim Alavi, who served as director of the Mossad from 1998 to 2002. Finally, we have Zamir, who served as the second director of the Mossad from 1968 to 1978. These are just a few of the many talented and dedicated individuals who have served the Mossad over the years. The inner workings of the Mossad. How does it operate? The Mossad operates through a network of departments. One of the main advantages of the Mossad is its ability to operate in a wide range of environments. In addition to traditional intelligence gathering methods, the Mossad also makes use of advanced technology. When it comes to carrying out covert operations, the Mossad is equally adept. Undercover operations, the art of deception. If you've ever watched a spy movie, then you've probably seen undercover operations in action. For starters, undercover operatives must maintain their cover at all times. One of the most famous undercover operations carried out by the Mossad was the 1960 capture of Adolf Eichmann, a Nazi war criminal responsible for the deportation of Jews to concentration camps. During World War II, from false identities to high-stakes infiltration, undercover operations are a critical part of the Mossad's repertoire. So why should you care about the inner workings of the Mossad? The future of the Mossad. challenges, and opportunities. The Mossad faces a number of challenges in the years to come. Despite these challenges, the future of the Mossad is bright. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the inner workings of the Mossad. As the sun sets on 2023, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment in history. The digital age has not only transformed our lives, but also blurred the lines between reality and virtuality. Imagine waking up in a world where your romantic desires are not your own, where the very essence of love has been subtly manipulated. Her deepest desires have been commodified and weaponized by a shadowy organization called the Lumen Institute. In today's video, we'll unravel the intriguing plot of Whispers of Control. The Invisible War continues, shedding light on the characters, the cast, and the gripping storyline that awaits us in 2024. So sit tight and get ready to be transported to a world where nothing is as it seems. On the eve of her wedding, she receives a cryptic message that shatters the illusion of her perfect life. Founded by the enigmatic Dr. Maxwell Fyfe, this institute holds the key to unraveling the mystery surrounding not only her sister's disappearance, but also her own suppressed memories. The message is from an anonymous source claiming to have information about her missing sister. Whispers of Control, the Invisible War continues. It's a story of love, loss, memory, and the lengths one woman will go to uncover the truth. Dr. Fyfe's character is shrouded in mystery, making him both intriguing and slightly unsettling. His brilliance as an expert in his field is undeniable, but his motives and loyalties remain unclear, leaving us to question his true intentions. Intrigued and desperate for answers, Maya embarks on a journey to uncover the truth. As the story unfolds, we are introduced to a cast of characters that will leave a lasting impression. The trailer has generated significant buzz, offering tantalizing glimpses into the unsettling world depicted in the series. The performances of the cast are nothing short of exceptional, further immersing us in the twisted narrative. Toby Jones as Dr. Fyfe delivers a chilling portrayal of a man whose brilliance is matched only by his enigmatic charm. Florence Kasumba as Maya gives a powerful performance, capturing the strength and vulnerability of a woman desperate for answers, while Poulter as Ethan adds another layer of intrigue with his portrayal of a character who seems to hold the key to unraveling the mystery. The creators have crafted a world that is both familiar and strange. A world where technology has advanced to the point where it mirrors our thoughts and controls our desires. The series has all the ingredients for a gripping and unforgettable viewing experience. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the intriguing plot of Whisper of Control. The Invisible War continues. With its stellar cast, thought-provoking plot, and masterful direction, it's sure to leave us on the edge of our seats, eager to uncover the truth alongside Maya. It's a cautionary tale, urging us to be mindful of the ethical implications of unchecked technological progress. What are your predictions for the upcoming series? Share your theories and join the conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. The visuals are nothing short of mesmerizing, transporting us to a realm where reality and virtuality intertwine in a disturbing dance. Your engagement means the world to us and inspires us to keep bringing you more entertaining content as we eagerly anticipate the release of Whispers of Control. The Invisible War continues in 2024. We encourage you to stay tuned for more updates. It's a testament to the writing and directing that each character feels so real, so tangible that we find ourselves questioning their motives and second-guessing their actions. Ethan's role in Maya's quest remains to be fully explored, leaving us curious about his connection to the overall mystery. It challenges our perceptions of reality, forcing us to confront the unsettling notion that the lines between right and wrong are not always clear-cut. It's a timely reminder of the importance of cherishing our loved ones while we can, as life can turn on a dime, leaving us to grapple with the fragility of human existence. Will he become a valuable ally or a cunning adversary? Only time will tell. Maya's character is a force to be reckoned with, a woman on the edge, driven by an unwavering need for answers. Each character adds a unique dynamic to the story, making for a truly compelling and unforgettable viewing experience. Her journey of self-discovery and resilience is sure to resonate with viewers, making us root for her every step of the way. Each character is meticulously crafted, adding layers of complexity to the narrative. But why would they do such a thing? And how does it all connect to the mysterious disappearance of her sister 5 years prior? Let's dive into the heart of this mystery. That's the chilling prospect presented in the captivating Netflix series. Whispers of Control. The Invisible War continues, set to premiere in 2024. Our choices now echo not just in our physical world, but in the vast expanse of the internet as well. This is especially true when it comes to love. But what if this digital realm could do more than just reflect our choices? What if it could influence them, even control them? In this dystopian thriller, Maya finds herself in a terrifying situation. Welcome to our channel, your place for the latest entertainment news. The plot thickens as we delve deeper into the enigmatic narrative of Whisper of Control. The Invisible War continues. 5 years ago, the lives of two sisters were irrevocably altered, when one of them vanished without a trace. In the aftermath of this devastating event, their parents are left grappling with the agonizing question, which plagues every parent who loses a child. Was it suicide, or was there foul play involved? Enter Maya, a young woman who finds herself at a crossroads. Her path leads her to a secluded institute nestled in the picturesque Scottish Highlands known as the Lumen Institute. As Maya delves deeper into the institute's secrets, she uncovers a sinister plot that reaches far beyond her wildest imaginations. It's a tale that resonates with the depths of human emotion and explores the darkest corners of the human psyche. Among them is the captivating Dr. Maxwell Fyfe, played by the brilliant actor Toby Jones. Then there's the strong-willed and determined Maya, portrayed by the talented actress Florence Kasumba. Adding another layer to this intricate web of characters is the enigmatic Ethan, played by the charismatic Will Poulter. These are just a few of the characters that come to life in Whispers of Control. The Invisible War continues. The series is set to premiere on Netflix in 2024, and fans are eagerly anticipating its release. The eerie score heightens the suspense, leaving us on the edge of our seats as we witness Maya's descent into the rabbit hole of deceit and manipulation. The series keeps us guessing, ensuring that we are as invested in the characters' fates as they are themselves. Whispers of Control. The Invisible War continues is more than just a thriller. It's a thought-provoking exploration of the complexities of human nature. The series also raises profound questions about the nature of love, memory, and the lengths to which we will go to protect those we care about. Furthermore, Whispers of Control. The Invisible War Continues is a masterclass in world-building. As we eagerly await the release of Whispers of Control, The Invisible War continues in 2024. The anticipation is palpable, so mark your calendars for 2024 and prepare to be captivated by the haunting melodies of Control. The Invisible War continues. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to show your support. And with that, we wrap up our video. But before we go, let us know your thoughts on Whispers of Control. The Invisible War continues in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the endless possibilities of entertainment. Thank you for watching. The year is 2025. You're going about your day. As you walk down the street, you pass by an advertisement for the latest video game that you really want to play. It has all of the hallmarks of a successful ad campaign: a catchy song, stunning visuals, and a protagonist that you want to be like. But there's one thing about it that's a little off. As you stop to take in the ad, you notice that the people walking past are starting to do the same thing. Everyone stops and stares at the ad. As a society, we seem to have a growing appetite for watching things that are shocking, outrageous, or simply entertaining. The internet and social media have given us unprecedented access to information and entertainment. With a few clicks of a button, we can find anything we want to watch. They argue that it's given us more access to information and entertainment than ever before. It's also given us a new way to connect with other people. Others believe that this age of watching is ultimately a bad thing. They argue that it's made us more narcissistic, less empathetic, and more easily distracted. We have the chance to shape the future of watching. We can decide what role technology will play in our lives and how we interact with each other. We can also decide how we'll deal with the challenges that come with new technologies. If we're able to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us, this age of watching could be the best time in human history. Only time will tell what the future of watching will be, but one thing is for sure: we're all going to be watching closely. We can also watch it on demand without having to wait for a specific time slot. These displays will allow us to watch movies, TV shows, and videos in a more immersive way. They'll also allow us to interact with virtual applications built on top of our environment. Some people believe that this is the next step in human evolution. By using these displays, we'll be able to access information and entertainment wherever we go. We'll also be able to interact with each other in new and innovative ways. Others believe that this is a step backwards. By wearing these displays, we'll be isolating ourselves from the real world. We'll be spending more time in virtual environments than in the real world. This could lead to social isolation and a loss of empathy. This has made watching a more personalized experience. We can watch whatever we want, whenever we want. AI-powered assistants will be able to recommend new content for us to watch based on our preferences. They'll also be able to generate new content for us to watch. Some believe that this is a positive development. AI will be able to give us more options for entertainment. It will also be able to create new forms of art that we've never seen before. Others believe that this is a dangerous development. AI will be able to manipulate our preferences and control what we watch. It will also be able to replace human creativity with its own artificial creativity. We can also share that content with our friends and family. We're on the cusp of a new era of watching, and it is up to us to decide what that era will look like. Will we be glued to our screens, or will we be interacting with the world around us? Only time will tell. This has created a new form of social currency. The ability to find and share interesting content is a valuable skill. And those who have it are often seen as being cool, fun, or intelligent. This is evident in the type of content that is popular today. Videos that are funny, cute, or heartwarming tend to get the most views. Similarly, news stories that are dramatic or controversial get the most attention. This is why reality TV has become so popular. Reality TV shows are essentially just people being filmed while they go about their daily lives. They're not scripted or rehearsed, which makes them feel more real and authentic. As viewers, we get to peek into the lives of other people and see how they live. We also get to see how they react to different situations and how they interact with other people. This can be both fascinating and entertaining. You feel a little creeped out, but also kind of cool being part of something bigger than yourself. As you walk away from the ad, you continue to see more and more people staring at their devices. We'd love to see what's going on in the world and in other people's lives. Or perhaps we're looking for a way to escape from our own lives. Watching TV or videos can be a way to do that. It allows us to forget about our own problems and focus on the problems of others. Whatever the reason, it's clear that we're all watching more than ever before. What is the question? What does this mean for the future? Some are watching videos on their phones. Some are watching ads on billboards. Some are just sitting around staring into the void of social media. We have more access to information than ever before, and it seems like everyone is taking advantage of it. Watching has been a part of human culture for as long as we have been around. For most of history, though, watching was a passive activity. People would watch things happen, but they didn't really have any control over what was happening. This began to change with the invention of television. With the invention of television, people could choose what they wanted to watch and when they wanted to watch it. This made watching a more active and engaging experience. It also gave rise to the concept of the 24-hour news cycle. With cable and satellite TV, people could watch news from around the world at any hour of the day or night. This made the news more immediate and impactful. It also made it more sensationalized as networks competed for viewers. In the 24-hour news cycle, it became more important to get ratings than to report the news accurately and objectively. And this trend has only become more pronounced with the advent of the internet and social media. Today, it seems like everyone is always watching everyone else. We live in a world where celebrities can be canceled for saying the wrong thing, and where politicians can lose elections because of a single misstep. But why are we so obsessed with watching? What is it about this new age of watching that is so captivating? You wonder what the world is coming to when even billboards have screens? But then you realize that this isn't the future. This is now. It seems like we're living in an age where everyone is always watching everything. To answer this question, we need to take a look at the history of watching. But this age of watching hasn't just been created by technology. It's also been created by our desire for spectacle. This age of watching has also been made possible by the development of new technologies. So why are we so obsessed with watching? There are many possible explanations. Perhaps we're all just nosy by nature. Some people believe that this age of watching is ultimately a good thing. In the near future, it seems like everyone is going to be wearing some kind of head-mounted display. It's also likely that artificial intelligence will play a larger role in our lives. What's certain is that the future of watching will be very different from the past. All of these changes may seem daunting, but they also offer us a great opportunity. Thank you for watching. The year is 2049. You are a reporter at a large news organization. Your boss calls you into his office to inform you of an exclusive interview that you have landed. The subject is none other than Olivia Newton-John, who, despite being in her mid-70s, still a highly sought-after celebrity and icon. Her face is free of makeup, and her hair is tied back in a loose bun. Despite her appearance, her eyes are sparkling and full of life. Olivia begins by asking you about your journey to get there, and listens attentively to your response. After a few moments, she shares that she was initially hesitant to do an interview because she was tired of people always talking about her age and how she looks. However, she eventually agreed because she realized that if she didn't talk about her thoughts, someone else would, and they might not be accurate. She reveals that she's tired of people always talking about her age and how she looks and feels, that it's unfair to constantly be judged based on her appearance. She feels that everything happens for a reason and that every experience, good or bad, has taught her something valuable. She feels that today's music lacks soul and that artists are more focused on image and branding than on creating meaningful music. She also encourages her younger self to be more confident and assertive and to never give up on her dreams. Olivia believes that true talent and hard work should be the focus, not image. She says that she hopes people will be inspired to follow their dreams and never give up. You realize that despite her fame and fortune, she is a down-to-earth, humble person who is passionate about making a difference in the world. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update. But we want to know what you think. What did you think of this episode? What did you find interesting or surprising? And what do you want to see in the next episode? Let us know in the comments below. We also want to give a big thank you to our supporters whose names you can see on screen right now. Their support helps us to keep bringing these stories to life, and we could undo it without them. So if you want to be a part of the story and help us to keep bringing these stories to life, then become a supporter today. And learn more about our platform and how you can become a supporter by clicking the link in the description below. But for now, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Silent Threads. You thank her for her candor and honesty, and for sharing her story with the world. You know that this interview will be a career-defining moment for you, and that you have made a lifelong friend in Olivia. She also hopes that people will be more accepting of those who are different, and to embrace diversity in all its forms. She also criticizes the overuse of autotune and other digital effects in modern music, and believes that it's important to celebrate real talent. Olivia believes in living each day to the fullest and making the most of every opportunity. She also believes in being grateful for the blessings in her life and appreciating the journey. She also admits that she has had plastic surgery in the past, but stopped because she didn't like the way it made her look. Olivia believes that beauty comes from within, and that it's important to focus on inner beauty rather than outer beauty. She also wanted to give voice to the many women going through similar experiences as her. As you approach her, she stands up, extends her hand, and introduces herself warmly. You start by asking her how she's been holding up since her husband's passing. You feel energized and inspired by Olivia's story, and you know that you will never forget this interview. Can't wait to share it with the world and to see the impact it has. You know that Olivia's story will resonate with people all over the world, and that she will continue to be an inspiration to millions. You feel grateful to have been a part of her story and to have played a small role in sharing her message with the world. You know that this is just the beginning, and that Olivia's story will continue to unfold in amazing ways. You queue and wait to see what the future holds for her, and you know that she will continue to inspire you for years to come. Olivia takes a deep breath and admits that it's been difficult. She reveals that her husband was her best friend and the love of her life, and that she misses him terribly. She also mentions that she finds it strange to be promoting her new music video without him. Olivia describes her husband as a beautiful soul who always put others first and possessed an incredible sense of humor. She recalls a funny incident when he surprised her by learning how to surf at the age of 60. She fondly remembers their life together, including their love of nature and how they met. She thanks you for coming and expresses her excitement about doing the interview. She explains that it took 2 days to shoot and was a lot of work, but also a great experience. She loved being on set and enjoyed working with the crew and cast. She also opens up about the importance of the song and its message of moving forward, even in difficult times. Before you start, she asks if you could turn off the camera so that she can tell you something important. She explains that, while she wants to participate in the interview, she feels vulnerable having the camera pointed directly at her and doesn't want to be reminded of her mortality during the process. She then clarifies that she's not afraid of dying, but rather concerned about how she will be portrayed in her final years. This is a side of Olivia that the public has never seen before, and you're honored to be the only person privy to this intimate moment. She has agreed to do an interview with your news organization, but there is one catch. She wants to remain anonymous for this particular interview. She's been through a lot recently, including cancer treatments and the death of her husband. She just needs some time away from the public eye. Understandably, your boss agrees to her request and instructs you to make sure that she is comfortable and safe during the interview. He also asks you to be mindful of her health and to keep the conversation light. Olivia has selected your news organization's headquarters in New York City as the location for the interview. And now it's up to you to make sure everything goes smoothly. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe so that we can change the world together. Now let's continue. You walk into Olivia's dressing room and see her sitting down calmly. She asks you to close the door behind you as you sit down across from her. As the interview begins, Olivia is calm, though a bit anxious. Olivia then transitions to discuss her new music video, which was filmed in Australia. Olivia then addresses the issue of her appearance and how it's often commented on by the media and the public. You ask Olivia if there's anything she would change about her life, and she says no. Olivia then discusses the state of the music industry and how it's changed since her early days. You ask Olivia what advice she would give to her younger self, and she says to enjoy the journey and not worry about the destination. You wrap up the interview by asking Olivia what she hopes people will take away from her story. As the interview comes to a close, you feel a sense of admiration and respect for Olivia. Her strength, resilience, and positivity are truly inspiring. As you leave the dressing room, you can't help but smile. And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Silent Threads. The late 1970s were an exciting time for moviegoers around the world. For the first time, a new kind of film was taking audiences on wild rides full of action, suspense, and science fiction thrills. Instead, it was his son, Brandon Lee, who took on the role of his father after his untimely death. So how did this imposter pull off such a convincing imitation? And what happened to the real Bruce Lee? Join us as we uncover the truth behind Legacy of Silence, the system that never sleeps. These movies had one thing in common, though. They all starred Bruce Lee, one of the most iconic martial artists and actors of all time. Brandon was born in Oakland, California, on February 1st, 1965. From an early age, he was interested in martial arts and began training under his father's watchful eye. But Brandon didn't just want to follow in his father's footsteps. He wanted to make his own mark on the world. He had the charisma, the martial arts skills, and the dedication to make Bruce Lee proud. In the end, Legacy of Rage was a huge success, both critically and commercially. Audiences loved seeing the next generation of martial arts stars, and Brandon was praised for his ability to honor his father's legacy while also making the role his own. You see, the movie is not merely about vengeance, but also explores themes of legacy and the cyclical nature of violence. Throughout the film, we see flashbacks revealing the troubled past of Master Han, shedding light on the events that shaped him into the ruthless crime lord. These flashbacks are interspersed with scenes showing the upbringing of Eric's son, hinting at the potential for change and hope for the future. In a powerful conclusion, the film suggests that even in the face of overwhelming odds, one person can make a difference. It was the perfect start to what would be a long and successful career. The movie holds cultural importance as it bridges the gap between Bruce Lee's era and modern martial arts cinema. Despite the darkness and violence depicted in the film, there is a glimmer of hope that shines through. The story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, one person can make a difference and bring light into the world. Brandon Lee's performance pays homage to his father's legacy, while showcasing his unique abilities and charisma. What do you admire most about Brandon Lee's portrayal of the Bruce Lee character? How does this movie hold up to the legacy of the original Bruce Lee? Share your thoughts below and join the conversation. Thank you for watching. Till next time, stay curious, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring the fascinating world of cinema and beyond. The Film S exploration of complex themes, and its stunning visuals set it apart from other martial arts films. It serves as a reminder of the power of storytelling in cinema and the impact it can have on audiences worldwide. After graduating from Emerson College in Los Angeles with a degree in theater, he began acting in small roles in TV shows and commercials. As mentioned earlier, Bruce Lee passed away in 1973 at the young age of 32 due to a cerebral edema, which is swelling in the brain. While he was taking painkillers, things weren't looking good. In March 1973, Bruce Lee experienced excruciating pain in his neck and back. He sought treatment from doctors who prescribed him painkillers like Equagesic, which contained the drug propoxyphene. Unfortunately, Bruce Lee turned out to be allergic to the drug. This caused his central nervous system to respond violently, leading to seizures and eventually going into a coma. On July 20th, 1973, after being in a coma for 3 days, Bruce Lee was pronounced dead at the age of 32. The news of his death shocked the world, and fans still wonder if he were alive today. What kind of movies he would have made. However, he soon realized that he needed more than just acting skills to make it in Hollywood. The movie begins with Bruce Lee's character, Eric Roberts, residing in a peaceful village in Hong Kong with his son. Their tranquil life is shattered when a powerful crime lord named Master Han seeks refuge in the village. Unbeknownst to the villagers, Master Han is the mastermind behind a deadly drug operation. When Eric confronts him, Master Han retaliates by killing his son. Consumed by grief and a thirst for revenge, Eric embarks on a perilous journey to find Master Han and bring him to justice. Along his path, he faces treacherous challenges, but his determination remains steadfast. Eventually, Eric finds Master Han and confronts him in an epic showdown. With skillful martial arts moves and unwavering determination, Eric defeats Master Han, seeking solace in the belief that his son's soul can now find peace. So he went back to school, this time to study filmmaking. Brandon hoped that by understanding the technical aspects of movie making, he could one day direct his own films, but fate had other plans for him. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco in 1942 Chinese immigrant parents. This allowed him to learn the ropes of the industry and make valuable connections that would help him in the future. However, he still hadn't landed a major role in a film. That all changed in 1986, when his father, Bruce Lee, died of a heart attack. Suddenly, Brandon found himself thrust into the spotlight as the only child of a legendary action star. He was just 21 years old. At the time, Brandon was struggling to make ends meet as an actor and had no experience starring in feature films. But he knew he had a responsibility to honor his father's legacy and make him proud. So he decided to take on the challenge. He wanted to share his passion with the world. In the early 60s, he returned to the United States and began appearing in TV shows and movies. Brandon had to endure months of intense training to learn martial arts and get into fighting shape. Also had to deal with the pressure of living up to his father's legendary status, but he was determined to succeed. Brandon studied hours each day to perfect his martial arts skills. He learned various disciplines, including Bruce Lee's own Jeet Kune Do philosophy. Brandon also worked closely with stunt coordinators to learn how to fight on camera and make each move look as impressive as possible. But despite his hard work and dedication, Brandon still faced doubts from those around him. Many people thought he was just riding on his father's coattails and would be able to stand on his own 2 feet. However, Brandon was determined to prove them wrong. His breakthrough role came in 1966 when he was cast as the star of the Kung Fu series, The Green Hornet. This led to several other successful film roles and established Lee as a major action star. Throughout the 70s, Lee starred in numerous hit movies including Return of the Dragon, Fist of Fury, and The Man with the Golden Gun. These films showcased his incredible martial arts skills and made him a global superstar. From an early age, he was interested in martial arts and began studying various disciplines when he was just a teenager. By the time he was in his 20s, he was a full-fledged martial arts expert and had even opened his own school in Rome. It was here that Lee began honing his skills as a fighter and developed the philosophy that would become known as Jeet Kune Do. But there's more to these films than meets the eye. You see, the Bruce Lee we know from those classic movies wasn't actually Bruce Lee at all. His passing sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and left a void in the hearts of his many fans. But before his death, Lee had already made plans for his legacy. In order to understand the strange case of legacy of silence, we have to go back to the beginning. But Lee wasn't satisfied with just teaching martial arts. However, Lee's life was tragically cut short when he died of a heart attack in 1973 at the age of just 32. Enter Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son with his wife Linda Lee Cadwell. After graduating from film school, Brandon began working as a production assistant on various movie sets. It wasn't easy. As the filming of Legacy of Rage went on, it became clear that Brandon was more than capable of carrying a movie on his own. Now, let's talk about the real Bruce Lee. What really happened to him? And now, let's shift our attention to the movie Legacy of Rage. But this isn't where the story ends. There's a twist. Now let's discuss the significance of Legacy of Rage. Moreover, the enduring popularity of Legacy of Rage lies in its timeless message of hope and resilience. As we wrap up this video, let us know your thoughts on Legacy of Rage. This is the most haunted place in the world. There's a place where the shadows are so deep you can feel them touching your skin. A place where the trees are so thick and the fog is so heavy that it feels like you're re-walking inside of a dream. And if you listen closely, you can hear the whispers of those who have gone before you, their footsteps echoing through the mist. We travel to the most haunted places in the world to uncover their dark secrets and the terrifying tales that will make your blood run cold. I invite you to subscribe for more untold stories from the shadows, where every week we take you to a different part of the world to explore the unexplained, the paranormal, and the things that go bump in the night. From ancient ruins to abandoned hospitals, from haunted houses to cursed artifacts, no topic is too scary. No place is too remote. So if you dare, join us as we delve into the shadows and bring you the most spine-chilling stories from around the globe. Because some places are just too creepy to ignore, and some secrets are best left buried.